Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 428. Welcome. Huge shout out to everyone joining us from YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, Twitch, where else are we at? LinkedIn, and to all of our family over at Unlonely and Onchain. We have with us Solve Care. Talking a little bit about health on chain, what's building out there. They, really want to talk SBF. We're going to be talking a little bit of SBF. We're going to be having a little bit of fun. But we got with us, we have community manager Mike. How are you doing, community manager Mike? Man, it has been a day. So, community manager Mike, you are joining us from Solve, and we have our bit buddy, and we have Olga joining us as well on stream. Mike, how's life today?
It's good. I'm in the UK, and it's actually sunny today, which is a wild surprise. But it's a nice day today.
Nice.
How's your Friday going?
Man, it has been it is a good day. I don't have any complaints, and it is very rainy here in New York. So that has been the fun piece. And so we have some talking about Solve Care. Let's do some housekeeping on that. Tell us about Solve Care today.
Sure. Solve Care is a decentralized healthcare platform. We've created a platform where anyone can create their own network, whether it be small hospitals, private clinics, specialists, even up to insurance companies and government, and they can create their own custom network, which are all interoperable with each other. One of the big things is that we allow people to control their own healthcare data. You get your own wallets, everything is encrypted with your private key, and because you can control your own data, you're able to share that data with whoever you want, whether it be a different hospital, a different clinic, a specialist, or even family and friends. So in the modern day, if you have your healthcare data with one hospital, it's incredibly painful to get that data and bring it to another hospital. What you end up doing is filling out a 40-page packet on all the different things you've been through in your healthcare journey. And instead, we have something where, you just click and you enable sharing with that person, and it sends over to them. So even if you're traveling, you go to another country, you're on holidays, something happens to you, you go to that hospital, you can easily just share all your information that they need, all your allergies, all your current prescriptions, things like that. And it just brings the patient, gives power back to the patient to join whatever networks they want, use any healthcare applications they need, any medical device data can go into that wallet, be shared with physicians and family and things like that. So it's just creating a unique platform which ties everything together, uses blockchain technology and the immutable ledger to bring trust, which allows data to be held by the patient, and it reduces a lot of administration costs. It reduces waste and fraud and things like that. So we've been working about 6 years on this platform, and we're finally at the place where we're enterprise ready. We've been dropping a lot of partnerships lately, and we're gearing up toward global mass adoption. So it's a fun time to be with us.
Nice. We are getting some comments out over from like our Unlonely fam that they love it, and sort of like the nice use of Web3. And then joining us on stream, I don't know if he has his mic on yet, but we got local bit buddy as well. So Mike,
hey, do you guys hear me?
We can hear you. How are you doing?
Okay, good. Yeah, I think I'm on your stream here, and I think Mike is on Twitter. So I think we're on different little streams, but this is really cool. I like this setup.
Yeah, no, and we are streaming live to 8 sources right now. So huge shout out to everyone joining us, all the way around, and how it goes better for both Mike coming on stream on Twitter or you joining us on video and stuff like that. it's a good day. So,
Yep.
BitBuddy, as Mike sort of just gave the layout of Solve Care, what is your role in Solve Care?
Yeah, so I've been there for about a year now. About a year, I worked for a guru and a famous guru. I did a lot of ghostwriting for him a few years ago, and one of his protocols he was real hyped about was Solve Care, and I was just learning about them, and I was lucky enough to have dinner with a few of the team members, and Pradeep being one of them, and I just loved what they're doing and loved Pradeep, and his background is just amazing. How he worked 2 years with Obama, 2 years with Bush, helped build WebMD, helped with the whole Healthcare Act and everything, and helped with a lot of regulation, and then he sees like he's not able to do what he wants to do and develop healthcare in the way he wants to develop it with these centralized authorities and the centralization and the problems that comes with administrations and things like that. And so he's trying to find a way that, well, blockchain is the only way to do it in a peer-to-peer manner. And, when blockchain technology, when that technology started arising, when Ethereum's network was created, and you could build, because on Bitcoin's network, the technology was there, but it's a little more complicated to build on Bitcoin's network. But when Ethereum's network launched and he saw, okay, this is the platform we can do this on, he started it off on Ethereum. Well, now they've moved on to their own layer 2 network, and they've created their own consensus mechanism. And it's just amazing what they're doing in the space and how they're revolutionizing DeFi in healthcare, which no other company is doing. So about a year and a half ago, I joined on to come and help build the team, and I'm really excited and really passionate about it.
Yeah, no, it's sort of a really cool thing, and I met you guys originally at Masari Mainnet here in New York. Got to meet Pradeep and get a full run through of both Solve Care and sort of like the solutions with the care cards. And so it was a really interesting take on that, where I saw, both not just doctor-patient, communication, but doctor, patient, and payer, or insurer, being able to have access to information and pushing that around. So that's sort of a really cool push there, and something a little bit unique and different in that you're adding to push out faster care, and faster payment services.
Yeah, and it's given real utility to the token. Not many tokens out there have utility. So having this Solve token as the main asset that powers it really gives it a utility.
Yeah. And so, right now there is a token out there, Solve Healthcare on Ethereum right now. How long has the token been out for?
It's been about 5 years.
Mike, you want to go on that?
Yeah. So the token's been out for 5 years, and it's been building out. We're gonna throw some on-chain stats on later on, from what that looks like. But how have you seen the token price action go, both in usage and because an application for it?
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride. So one thing what we have on our roadmap is this graph that shows progressive decentralization. So as technology in blockchain has advanced, we're using that blockchain to more and more decentralize our platform. So at first, dealing with healthcare data and blockchain, you're in a really weird situation where you can't put healthcare data on a blockchain because of, HIPAA laws and, the European data laws and things like that. So for the longest time, we've been using healthcare data to run all of our networks and have all our clients interact with their patients and use care wallets and things like that. The nice thing is that we're working on CareChain, as a local BitBuddy said, And once that launches, everything will now be on-chain and all the transactions will be a lot more transparent, things like that. So we have been growing in adoption. We've had some big clients use our network, our platform, including Arizona Care Network, which is the largest hospital group in Arizona. We have Boehringer Ingelheim, which is one of the largest private pharmaceutical companies in the world. When COVID happened, we created a network for COVID management and tracking, and it was used by PLC, one of the largest insurers in the world, as well as like charter schools in California, pediatrics in Florida. So we're starting to see a lot more adoption. We have a lot in the pipeline. Pradeep always says that one of our biggest assets is our pipeline because he had a lot of connections before coming into this business, and going around speaking about what our platform does, especially to the healthcare audience, has really grown our demand. So we're finally at the stage. It took us a long time to build the platform that can really do anything in healthcare, and now we're at the adoption phase where we're signing a lot of new partners, we're creating a lot of new networks, and we're looking to reach that billion patients on our platform, utilizing our wallets and utilizing Solve tokens for things like identity and verification and payments, obviously, and things like that. So very exciting time for us right now. We're just starting to see the adoption grow.
Nice. And so one of the things, we were talking a little bit token, and you guys have made your own chain to do a lot of this stuff, so almost gasless transactions. And so we'll talk about some of the ins and outs of that as we sort of expand on what Solve Care, the solution is, and Solve, Care Chain. The care cards, I thought, was something that was really different. They're almost, for lack of a better word, they're dynamic NFTs that can integrate appointment check-ins, or third-party payers. If you're seeing missed appointments, the insurer can reach out and be like, "Do you need an Uber ride?" And that's a dynamic NFT that's sent specifically and privately to them, and they can say yes or no, because on an insurance level, they pay out when the appointment happens. And the doctor's office really wants to see that, and that insurer wants to see, for lack of a better word, the insurer wants to be billed by the doctor, and so they'll make sure that doctor then bills. But if a patient isn't showing up, then the doctor can't bill. And so that sounds like a bad linear circle, but it really is sort of, how do you get a patient to the doctor's office?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because with CareChain launching, our cards will all be NFTs. We use the ERC 1155 standard, and instead of having levels, strength, and all the things you see in NFT gaming, the characteristics on these NFTs are business logic and permissions, and it'll say what if you're a patient, if you're a physician, if you're an administrator, things like that. So it gives you roles and it gives you permissions on that. But yeah, exactly. These care cards can be, prescriptions, and these prescriptions can be sent and filled. And it's very interesting. The Uber one is really good, because some of the stats we found is that the way the insurance companies do it right now is they send out coupons that essentially say this is good for a $6 or $10 cab ride. But they had no way to enforce that. So what people were doing is they were just using these coupons to go to the grocery store or go to a friend's house, and they had no way of enforcing it. But with ours, this Uber ride is directly connected to the appointment and can only be used to get to the appointment from the person's house. So it's a lot more powerful than the system they have going on right now, and they waste billions of dollars on these coupons for helping patients get to their appointments. And obviously, the more patients reach their appointments, the better the care is. The long-term effects of that really decrease the burden on the healthcare industry all around.
Yeah, no, and we see that medical waste spending is one of the biggest pieces that sort of slows down innovation, because I think 1/3, and this is the healthcare system sort of groups stuff both waste and fraud together. Unfortunately, I wish they would break it out a little bit better, just so that that could be addressed better. But I think I saw one point almost like around 17 to 27% of all healthcare spending is either waste or fraud, and it's a big number. It's a big industry.
One of the craziest ones I heard was people getting prescribed or the insurance approving them to get a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. And they would go to a shop and they would show that their insurance covers it, and they would get their wheelchair. They would leave that shop and immediately go to another shop and say, hey, my insurance that says I can get a wheelchair. They would get another wheelchair, and they would drive to another shop, and they would do it over and over again. And it's the delay, mm-hmm. The number one way of transmission of data right now for hospitals is the fax machine. It's so slow that people just take advantage of this. And you have blockchain and you have this mutable ledger. It just speeds up things dramatically, and as well as administrative costs. That's probably the second largest cost that hospitals deal with. Is you walk into a hospital, they ask if you have insurance, you hand them this paper card. They don't know if you kept paying the insurance premium. They don't know if you have changed your coverage since then. So someone has to physically call the insurance company and verify that you have this insurance and that it's still valid. And with the blockchain and the mutable ledger that says, here's the pay, they are still active on our network and they have this coverage, it eliminates that need for this administration to go through and double check everything, because you have, again, this mutable ledger that proves it.
Yeah. One of the questions that came to us via Unlonely, and we sort of talked about this real briefly, but this came from C on Unlonely. Huge shout out to C. But are you tokenizing any of your services products? What are some of the political issues your firm is currently facing? And I'm sure it's a little different for an organization that is government funded or oriented. So we can break that down. Like, let's talk about, are you tokenizing services and products?
So you are able to pay for services and products with the SOLVE token. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're not going to have some 80-year-olds go on to Uniswap and start doing trades. So we do have our own in-house exchange. So you're able to purchase with a debit or credit card, or you can pay with, we actually have Finance Pay as well. And that just does a transaction in the background. We realize the only way you're going to get real world adoption of blockchain is to keep the blockchain out of the main focus. People need to use this application and have no idea they're using blockchain. I think it's at this point in time, it's the only way you're going to get real world adoption.
Yeah. You got a fan now from C on Unlonely. And so let's go to the next question.
To touch on that tokenized part a little bit more. No, they're not planning on tokenizing, but that doesn't mean like NFTs. They do have a marketplace. They do have a self-care marketplace. Now, if you yourself wanted to tokenize your product, let's say you had some fitness routine or you had some book or something, and you wanted to tokenize it as an NFT, you're more than welcome to sell it on our marketplace. And that's what we've been connecting with people to do.
All right. Yeah. And we see that, because Solve is, one, it's doctors are accepting crypto, or is the Solve Care token just that transference of payment and they're getting fiat on the back end?
They're getting Solve on the back end.
It can serve as a stable coin too. I guess you want to talk about that too, Mike, how it can serve about a stable.
Oh, Mike, what was that?
Oh, sorry.
They do get paid Solve, but they do have the option to trade that into fiat. What's interesting is we have the dual redemption model. Mm-hmm. So if you were to make a payment into a network, say it was your hospital, they have the option of making that either a variable or a fixed. So we have the option to, you pay $100 for an appointment. That can be a fixed rate so that the doctor doesn't have to worry about volatility in the market or, SBF selling, things like that. They can just get paid the amount they want. And then obviously the volatility is dealt with either the care network or by us or a combination of the two. So we do look out for having a token as a payment can be very dangerous when the markets are back and forth. So we do have that dual redemption model that helps out. insurers are going to get paid what they're told they're going to get paid.
Nice. And then, Bit, what was it that you were saying?
Oh, that was what I was saying. I was telling him to expand on that.
Yeah. And so a little quick housekeeping as we come up on that half-hour mark. I asked that everyone just sort of gives a like and a share to the space. Get this out as we, and follow Solved Care. We are going to have some CTAs throughout, but this is going to be, if you have questions, put them in the comments. We're on YouTube, or you can put them on the comments. Twitch, put them in the comments, and we will get them and get it answered to them. So there's just a lot of cool stuff that you guys are doing. One of the things that I saw with the care cards was each piece of data. Like let's just talk about healthcare data. Like I go to the doctor and I get results for blood work. I'm going in for a checkup. I even get my weight as an NFT of data that I own, and I can't fudge that. And that puts my weight on chain.
Yeah.
But
so you have your own ledger inside of the wallet.
Yeah.
Which keeps track of all of it, and then you have a vault that keeps track of all of documents or anything that you upload as far as your healthcare. Yeah.
One of the things that I talked with BitBuddy about was that the aspect of the wallet that you guys have right now. Right now, it's only live on what's the word?
Apple.
iOS. Yeah, Apple. I hate that. I mean Apple, not Snapple, but on Apple, and that's because with Android, there's like 30 different versions that you have to build out to make sure it meets all of the different Android specs. What is the timeline for Android adoption?
We're actually looking at the next couple of weeks. We did have an Android app before, but we had a lot of changes to our development cycle, which sped up development processes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, with iOS, as you said, there's just one operating system you're dealing with devices. But with Android, we were finding we were falling behind a little bit on our Android development. So we took the process of, we've been hiring a lot of new developers. We've opened center of excellences, new offices that are development focused. And yeah, we're hoping in the next few weeks to have our Android app back with all the new updates and, our clinical trials network and things like that.
Nice. And it was one of the cool things was how quickly you can set doctors up and patients up within this. During, I think it was maybe a 15 to 25 minute little presentation that you guys gave at Masari, but live in front, you created a new doctor, a new network, and created my own patient plan, and sort of made those cards out. And a huge shout out to Olga for hunting me down at Masari to make sure I saw this, and I got to see this firsthand. But you guys can onboard doctors and doctor offices pretty darn quickly. What is your current onboarding rate right now?
So, with each application or each network you use, each button you click on is called the care journey. Each one of them has their own different application. And every time we have a client come to us, it's very interesting. We had this idea of what people would come to us for. But each client that comes to us brings a brand new thing that we've never. And while we try and keep everything as copy paste, really easy to develop, people keep coming to us with new ideas. And so we're currently pushing to release a journey a day. So our onboarding rate it just keeps getting faster. So we actually don't like to put anywhere, what the typical time is, because one of our goals is to continually drop that. And, from 2 years ago, it's now a 10th of the time that it was to onboard people. So we can get a network running. Our clinical trials network was the recent one, and we built that in about 7 days. And that has, connects you to clinical trials and has different journeys and things like that. So we're incredibly fast with onboarding now.
Nice.
And through my journeys of this, I've noticed that, the adoption for Web3, just like kind of with insurance protocols, and you notice with all these like kind of these boring business, I mean, everything in blockchain is kind of boring. I mean, we're making money fun. I mean, of course, money's kind of, finances is kind of fun, but I don't think any of us were in high school super excited about taking economics class. You know what I mean? And like, look what blockchain is now. It's, it's making economics fun, right? And so, of course, there's other industries in it, like the insurance industries and the healthcare industries and all these other niches of it that aren't grabbing the attention, the adoption that the other maybe NFTs and art and stuff are. It's going to be there. In the run, it's just going to run in the background like electricity, but it's just not there. But what I've seen the adoption coming fast is not from the blockchain people adopting the healthcare industry, blockchain the healthcare industry. It's the doctors. Every single time I talk to a doctor and tell them about this, it's not even someone that, let's just say someone that's a friend, someone I'm not trying to pitch them about self-care. I'm just talking about someone that's just a friend. And I just totally forgot to mention self-care to them. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I work at this healthcare self-care, and I'm not thinking they're going to be interested at all in it, but they're super interested in it, super want to figure out more, want to talk to them. Every single doctor and healthcare person I've ever talked to about self-care, it's like light bulbs just going off in their heads and like, how can I get involved with this? And you're seeing that on the self-care team. You see all these doctors and all these very smart people that maybe are not too savvy in the blockchain space, but super savvy in the healthcare space. They're just like gravitating towards and wanting to learn more about blockchain and wanting to learn more about self-care and signing up and becoming, node operators. It's crazy how fast with onboarding, how fast they're able to onboard these doctors.
Nice. And I learned a little bit more about the node operator side of things. So I don't know if this is a question for you, Mike, or for you, BitBuddy, on the node operation. It's the doctor's offices that are actually running nodes. So your network is your health network is your chain network and are your validators. So you sort of have a little bit of trust. If you're trusting your doctors with your information, you're trusting your doctors with your health chain at the same time.
Yes, that's correct. So it's pretty much anyone in the healthcare industry. So it can be, also insurers, it can be hospitals, it can be private clinics, it can be, physicians at their homes, things like that. We trust. If you have to go through a KYC process where you have to prove you're competent, that's the idea behind the consensus mechanism, is that you prove you're competent, you prove you're in the healthcare industry, and you use your name as kind of a proof of stake aspect.
Okay. Now, is it a proof of stake network where they have to stake Solve token to be validators as well?
No, unfortunately, this proof of stake has not been viewed very well in compliance terms with different governments.
Yeah.
So we kind of shied away from it, and that's one of the reasons we created CareChain, is because it's very compliance. And one of the interesting things about our network is you have these nodes located with all these industry players, and you can actually geopin your data. So if you are a U.S. government that wants to join the platform, a state, for example, they may not want a node in some other country using or running their data or having data run through their systems in any way, shape, or form. So they can pay extra in gas and geopin and make sure that only nodes in the US are the ones running their data. So we focus really heavily on compliance, but we stayed away from the staking aspect because of the SEC and those bodies coming out with these staking protocols.
Okay. I want to ask one more question, but then we have an amazing person that came up on stage and see if she has any questions. But you sort of touched on this. What are some of the political issues you guys are facing, both statewide, U.S., and internationally?
So compliance is a huge thing. Luckily, we do have a lot of advisors on our team that are part of the U.S. So, we're obviously the compliance, and, we look into all the different regulations before we start working in these different countries. But, we were looking to run a telehealth platform, and a lot of our community and a lot of our holders are Korean, but Korea completely bans telehealth. So you run into these different issues, and obviously we have to run compliance. We have to make sure any network we run in these different countries meet the standards of their healthcare, the customs, and the regulations. And yeah, it is one of the hardest things is being a global platform and making sure you check all the boxes before you do anything in these different countries. So luckily, we do have the CARE protocol, which is like the underlying fabric, and it can make sure that the person is in the country they say they are, and that these networks are approved in their country. So it is one of the hardest aspects of creating a global healthcare network, but we have a compliance team that is always focused on it and always looking into all the different aspects and regulations and things like that.
Okay. And so are you guys having to do different consensus and healthcare model for regulations per different countries, or are you trying to just make an ironclad that meets everyone's needs?
So we are launching our own networks that we're building, and then we're marketing and things like that. But the biggest one for us are kind of private networks, like Arizona Care Network, for example. They're not a public network. They really don't want people that aren't going to their hospitals joining their network. So they create this private network that you join either by a reference code or a special link or something to that extent. And those can be set up anywhere. So we have companies in Korea that are building care networks that are private for Korea. We have, interest in South America and the Middle East that are building their own private networks. So when they create their own private network that's in their name, they are already coming to the table with all the standards and the regulations in mind. We really just, when we are creating our own networks that we want to market globally, that's really when we have to clamp down and really make sure that our network is going to be approved all across the board, and that we're not stepping on any toes or going against any regulations and stuff like that.
Okay, nice. So like state by state, is this something that someone can join in New York, or is New York one of the hard ones right now?
So it is available. We have our clinical trials network, which is going to be fully launched within a week or two. We're hoping we have a few bugs that we're overcoming, but that one will be able to join anywhere in the U.S. because you're essentially joining just clinical trials. We use zero knowledge for it, so you can actually be eligible to all the different clinical trials without having to give your information to every single clinical trial company out there. So that would be the first one that people just anywhere in the U.S. can apply for. But anyone can sign up right now to our platform, and we don't have any real issues with that because Solve is just used for utility. So if you create a Care Wallet, download the Care Wallet, you create an account, any kind of Solve that you put into that wallet is only used for utility. So we don't run into any issues with that because there's no kind of trading, there's no kind of rewards or anything like that. So by making it strictly utility for our wallet, that helps us be able to launch our platform wherever we want. And obviously we are an ERC20 token, so you don't have to hold it in our wallet. You can hold it in, a ledger or anywhere you want.
Okay. All right. And then let's go to Carmen real quick. If she has any questions, she came up and joined. She is huge in Government Blockchain Association networks and stuff like that. A huge vocal advocate for the adoption of blockchain. And see if she has any questions for you guys.
Hey, Taco. Good morning from Vegas, and good morning to the speakers here. And you know what? Like, destiny just hits sometimes. I took a mic because I was introduced to your platform at the GBA in May of last year. And just recently, you guys came up in a conversation just this week. And so, Taco, I'm shooting my shot. I have to get with you guys. The decentralized exchange that I work for, the CEO also owns CLX Health. And we have actually spent, 9 months building something that would tremendously help you in the telehealth section. So I was like giddy when you guys mentioned that was in your roadmap. But I had actually brought up your platform to my leadership and executives saying, hey, we got to talk to these guys. And look at us now. You guys are in a space with my friend Taco. And I said, I'm amazed at the growth that you guys have had. I was extremely bullish on your talk that I heard at the GBA in Washington, D.C., because things have to get easier, and it's through the tools of technology that we get there. And you guys have overcome a lot of hurdles of making it an ease of use and getting to the people who can use it and actually make an impact. So kudos to you guys. I'm going to slide into your DMs. Would love to have this member call with you.
Cool. Yeah, I just actually did a YouTube about a month ago with Jacqueline Cooper from GBA. So
I've been helping her build out the Blockchain Legal Institute, and she has her first virtual conference on Tuesday that we're moderating a couple panels on. The quality of people that you meet at the GBA is just so amazing. I mean, it's a different vibe when you go to these events. You don't see a lot of tokens. You're not pulling out your wallets a lot, but it's a lot of soaking up a great information. And we usually walk away just understanding where we need to pivot, any of our projects or businesses or companies to stay within our rails and accomplish our missions.
Cool. Yeah, we love the GBA. So anything you want to do with us, any talks or anything, we're always happy to.
Carmen is a huge advocate, and it's one of those things. We've seen a lot of advocacy over just this year alone. Some huge powerhouses come up and talk about the utility of blockchain, the finality of it, and the safety of it. So I don't know if this is, Mike, this is for you or this is for BitBuddy, but can you talk about the safety on the privacy now that, my blood results, and people will make fun of my cholesterol levels, are on chain. What is the privacy behind on that protects me on that?
Yeah, so one of the big things is that there's no longer a giant silo that holds tens of millions of patient records. The NHS was hacked recently, and it was because the NHS was using a version of Windows that wasn't supported anymore, and it wasn't getting security patches, and so somebody hacked into them. But the thing about having a big data silo with everyone's information is that you put a big target on yourself. You have a lot of reason to hack that because you can get access to a lot of different things at once. But on our platform, you hold the data. You can lease the data to whoever you want. It's kind of like when you connect your MetaMask to a Web3 application, you can always revoke that access. So in our wallet, your data is encrypted by your private key, and if you go to a hospital, you can share that data with them, and then you can always unshare that data with them, just the same as you would revoke access to something like a Web3 platform. So by having everyone control their own data, you now have this, reason that people aren't going to hack as much, because now if you hack, you spend the time, you have to break a private key, which hasn't happened before, find some other method. You're really only going to access one person's healthcare records, and all you really have is a wallet address. So you're not sure who this person is, and it just makes it so it's not, it's not a big target anymore. But obviously, we use the encryption of healthcare. Pradeep and the team have been in healthcare IT for decades, so they know about the importance of keeping healthcare data secure. But that is the biggest aspect. It's the fact that there's no longer one source where they can get tens of millions of people's information all at once. They have to spend the time to go after one individual at a time.
Yeah. Now,
if I could jump in, that's the
Yeah.
generalization of the blockchain. But if you break down to if you get down to the nitty gritty, the technicals of it, that breaks down to our care cards, our dynamic NFTs. The fact that you can have that public information on one side of the NFT and that private information on the other side of it, because you got to have some information that is public that you can share to, whatever, but you also want to have that information that's private. So that's where those what we were talking about earlier with the care cards and the dynamic NFTs, those sense of two-sided NFT. One side is public, the other side is private. That's where that really comes in. And then the running on the proof of competence chain, that's where the decentralization comes in.
So then an aspect on that is, as more of my health information comes on chain and, my insurance sees that, will there be a benefit towards my insurance premiums, or in the opposite side of it, will my insurance get more expensive? Because, maybe, yes, I'm doing a lot of exercise and activities, and trying to stay relatively healthy, but I eat like a fat kid and, my cholesterol is up or something like that. Will this limit insurance in any way or hurt me?
It depends. So you have the ability to share whatever data you want to share. So if your insurance is kind of stepping over the line and they want every piece of information, that could be an issue. But I don't see too many insurance companies going down that route. It's kind of if they do it, then most people will just switch to somebody else. But obviously, like if you have a heart rate monitor that you're using, or a fitness watch that you're using, and you have good track record of running 3 times a week or 5 times a week or lifting a few times a week that you can share with your insurance, you could obviously get discounts on that to show that you are an active, healthy individual. But yeah, the data you want to share is up to you, and I don't see too many insurance companies that are forcing people to share what their steps are for the day or what their heart rate is every day, things like that.
Okay. From one aspect of it, are you guys looking to integrate into more healthcare-based blockchain applications like Sweatcoin, which recently just launched their wallet and everything in the US, but they're on Near, but that they still collect that health data of how many steps I do a day. Are you guys looking at different integrations with different health projects?
Yeah, so we actually just partnered with Lilius, which is a Korean company. They have like 70 IPs of athletes and stuff, but they use AI. It's kind of like the Xbox, the old camera used to have that would track your motion. It's an app that uses that, and then there's different athletes and they have challenges. Like right now they have the squat challenge, and you can kind of choose your athlete that you want to do the squats with. And they have their own token and things like that. But we're integrating that into our platform because, once that's a network, any other network can kind of subscribe their patients into that. So if they want them to start doing exercises at home, because those are all body weight, they can just, subscribe their patients into that to help their patients get more exercise and, into their lifestyle, things like that. So yeah, we're very open to looking at other healthcare platforms, blockchain or Web 2, and integrating them into our platform.
Okay, nice. And what's sort of like the next thing coming up, for you guys?
So the next thing coming up for us, obviously, is this clinical trials network where you don't have to share your data. You can sign up for clinical trials and earn rewards for that. They have some that are just filling out surveys, or they have ones that pay you more to go out and see a physician and things like that. That's the biggest one we're working on at the moment, aside from a lot of partnerships that we haven't announced at the moment. But we are really focused right now on adoption on the business side, and then we're also focused on care chain because we want to get our layer 2 platform up and running and have a lot more transparency. And our layer 2 platform also allows the marketplace to function in the way that we want. We want people to be able to build their own healthcare applications and monetize them and build extensions onto our platform and things like that. So right now we're really focused on the adoption phase, and we have a lot of networks and a lot of prospective clients that we're working with. just to build up the amount of people that have wallets and are utilizing Solve for, healthcare.
Okay. And, you talked, I want to talk on this on the research side. I've talked with Dr. Alex Kahana and got to interview him, and right like the week before he went and testified about decentralization of healthcare records in third world countries. And his biggest issue at the time was insurance companies. And so one of the things that I have seen in the past 2 weeks, especially with the integration of more AI into healthcare, that insurance companies are starting to turn your healthcare records into proprietary information that they own, because they don't want that information, being disseminated in some way, and they want to be the receiver of any payments. And rather than me being able to own my own data, is this something that you guys are starting to see, pushback on in any way with insurance companies?
So I'm not sure if it's an insurance company, but I did recently hear from one of our partnership managers that we did run into someone like that who didn't quite grasp the idea that the patient should control their own data. But obviously, if they have an insurance company and they want to be part of that network, they need to share the data that network requires. So if they don't want to be part of that network or insurance company, then they wouldn't share that kind of data with them. But there are a lot of studies that are coming out about how powerful interoperability between healthcare systems is really benefiting patients, and it's actually really benefiting healthcare providers as well. So, we will have that pushback. There will be some that want to sit in the past and have their archaic data silos and, transfer data files through fax machines. But, as we see these more and more hacks happening, I think there was one the other day with a big health insurance company. We will start seeing people see the lights and realize that this is the way to go. And, obviously, as we grow, we'll have more and more proof to put out there that, this is the way to go. This is the system that is going to help the most people. But yeah, I do think we will have some pushback from insurance companies and some healthcare companies that want to live in the way of the past. A lot of them have really archaic systems. So I don't see that, it's something that won't happen.
Okay. And with the research side of things, an interesting aspect is that's direct from research to patient. And so it starts to take all of the red tape out of the equation. And that means, I remember Dr. Kahana was talking about it, that right now is costing, healthcare organizations almost $20,000 to $40,000 per patient to have in a research study. And that was just based off of the ROI on all of the red tape for clinical trial stuff. Now you're sort of removing a lot of that red tape and going direct from, researcher to patient. What is the cost difference on that? And what is the protection models that are still into play?
Yes, so when you sign up for these trials, you're still directly working with that clinical trial company, so all the protections are still there in that sense. But what happens? We release the eligibility and enrollment suite, and that essentially is what's powering the clinical trial network, where you can put markers on your wallet, and they can make you eligible for these different clinical trials. So one of the most powerful things is clinical trial companies at the moment have to market through television and ads and things that most people in this day and age don't pay attention to. And when you have a worldwide sample for your clinical trial, it's a lot more powerful, and it costs a lot less just to put it out there. So I think for us to get, I forget what the cost is normally for finding an eligible candidate, but for us, it's $1 for the research company to find an eligible candidate through our platform. So it's incredibly cheaper than the current model that's out there. And I don't have those on me. I know Pradeep said them before, but I forget the numbers. But that the amount they're paying per person is just ridiculous. And ours is just $1 to find a candidate that matches all the different criteria that you're asking for.
And then does that mean it's a better stream? You know, I don't want to say stream of revenue for people that want to participate, but better incentives for them to participate rather than that like $200 check or $50 check. Are they getting more out of it?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest holdups for people joining clinical trials is the process they have to go through with it. You know, signing up to these different trials and then finding out you're not an eligible candidate, but you shared all your information with them to find out whether you were an eligible candidate or not. It deters a lot more people. A lot of people are kind of worried about throwing their healthcare data around to all these different clinical trial companies to see if they qualify or not. Meanwhile, our platform, they don't have to, we ask their age, we don't ask their birthday because their birthday can be an identifying factor and things like that. So we make it very private to put your information out there and then apply to these different clinical trials so that you know when one of these clinical trials comes to you, you're already eligible for it. And if you want to work with them, you can get that done. You know, you don't have to worry about getting denied or having all these different factors out there. And because it's easier to do, you're going to find that a lot more people can sign up for this. And, you know, with this economy, people are looking for reasons to earn a couple extra bucks here and there, you know, and some of these clinical trials, they pay a lot of money. If you have, a chronic illness, especially a rare one, you can make a lot of money on these clinical trials. You know, they're looking for you. And to have a zero knowledge way to sign up for them and be eligible for them, it just makes it so much easier for people to do it. And that's one of the biggest reasons.
Okay. What do you guys see next coming up on that? So for me, and for those that don't know, I have a huge history in healthcare, almost 20 years serving IDD patients, intellectually and developmentally disabled adults and children, getting them out of horrible situations, out of abusive homes or hospitals that are off the street and into host homes. So one of the biggest EHRs, electronic health record systems I know, is like TheraP. And one of the things that I always was a really big issue for me with state funding, Medicare and Medicaid don't actually pay for providing care. They provide for they pay for the documentation of care. And so, I was able to onboard almost, 1,000 providers into TheraP. What is some of the back end work that you're doing with some of these other EHR systems like TheraP that, giving medication at the time it needs to be given? So providers that are providing that care don't feel disincentivized to use electronic health records because they feel that they're going to just be punished for not giving a medication, but not marking down exactly when they gave it. Is there some leeway in that?
Yeah, I can't speak too directly on that program, but we do have different, on our platform, we have one of the care cards is called How Are You Feeling Today? Mm-hmm. And essentially when they prescribe you a medication, they can also attach this care card to it. And it will ask you every day if you're taking the medication, at what time you're taking the medication, whether you ate before the medication, if you've had any alcohol or if you got enough sleep, and all the things you can attach to it that give that kind of exact timing of when they're taking that medication that can help on that kind of system. One of the things about the eligibility and enrollment suite is that we look into Medicare and Medicaid. It's a very expensive system for people to sign up for and to make sure they're eligible. And again, with these simple markers you can put on your platform, you can find out whether you're eligible, not just for Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP and things like that, but also like local government programs, disability programs and things like that. So we call it a change from a push to a pull, where you have to, if you have something, you normally have to go out and find help. this new eligibility and enrollment suite, you can just put what kind of issues you're having, and healthcare companies can come to you. It's kind of a different system. But yes, hopefully that answers your question with, like, you know, having the blockchain ledger and it's being able to say you prescribed a medication, and then having that stamp in a immutable ledger can help with that situation of, you know, whether they documented it correctly and whether there's proof that it was prescribed at a certain time.
Okay, there's some interesting pieces there. One of the things that for those that are listening in, one of the things that, you know, my little call to action is for those that are using Android devices, or not Android devices, but Apple devices. Up in the bird's nest, I put the link for the wallet, and you know, so if you want to find it directly, there you can. I always want people to be aware of scams, and, you know, please follow SolveCare for direct information. And this is one of those things that, you know, what happens if someone clicks on a bad link somehow with their SolveCare wallet? Is their health records now at risk?
So it still has to be approved by the. It's an interesting take, but normally the application itself would have to come under attack. And it is something that we're always looking at. You know, Pradeep was part of the Affordable Care or Obamacare, whatever you call it. But that also had an application with it. And it's one of those things where you have to constantly look into the security of it. But obviously, you know, with everything encrypted with your private key, removing the app, you can still get back into it if you have a copy of that private key. And we're actually looking at other methods for that, because private keys are a little difficult for people. I don't want to say right now because it is something we're working on, but we are looking at different ways to authorize that app. But, you know, as long as if your phone comes under, you know, malware or something to that extent where, you know, the files and everything in your phone are under attack, they still need that you know, whatever it is, your password or your biometrics to access the health record or your wallet, because it still is encrypted up until the time where you sign a message to unencrypt it. So, you know, obviously if your phone was stolen and they had your credentials, they could get into it and have access to your healthcare records, but that's essentially the only way it could happen. There's not too much other than that we can really see at the moment, but obviously I'm not deep into the security side of things, and we do have a team that looks into all those aspects.
All right, nice. You know, because that's the piece there. And so I want to talk, and maybe this you said might not know all of the answers to this, and that's okay. You know, I would love to do a follow up with like Pradeep and the tech team. Your wallet integration stuff. Are you guys incorporating account abstraction so that people only need to worry about like their phone number and their email to sign up for their wallet? Or is this, you know, grandma gonna have to write down her 12 words again?
So as of right now, it is grandma's gonna have to write down her 12 words. But as I was saying, we are integrating with a big company out there that has done it very well. And we're going to be using, you know, they have a sharding method to recovery. And yeah, we're looking to move away from the whole, you know, 0x or the private key because it's not consumer friendly. And yeah, we are looking actually right now to integrate into something that is a lot more friendly for that. But as of right now, we do have a phone number and a password deal. And, you know, the private key is the utmost backup of that.
All right. So are they having to write down these 12 words before they are able to access the wallet? Or is that if they want to export later on and they just get, they can just sign up with like their phone number and email first and get going?
You can skip it. It warns you many times not to.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, that makes it a little bit easier for grandma and other people and stuff like that, especially if they're at the doctor's office and the doctor's like, hey, we want to use, you know, SolveCare, you know, so then they'll realize they have to do that later, but can do it real quickly. You know, onboarding new people, I think, is one of the biggest things, you know, especially just expanding a network so people can sort of see. A big question here, if people are wanting to participate, because there's a big issue with privacy and stuff like that and individuality, especially in blockchain, what is like sort of the protection method for being a degen, you know?
In what sense? What do you mean?
So is there an aspect to it to where I can participate, you know, in a undoxed way and still be part of this? Or is this something to where I'm trusting it with all my information when I don't even trust hotels or the phone company with my information?
Yeah, so we do use zero knowledge for a lot of the different things, but when you sign up for the wallet, you just need a phone number. You don't have to put in your information on that. If you were to join a specific care network, like your hospital group or something like that, they're going to want more information on that. But you can connect a wallet. We said before that we don't want to handle KYC. We don't want KYC when you sign up for the wallet. That is a big censorship factor, and it's not the path that we want to take. But obviously, certain networks, they may require, you know, certain information to be able to join it. Your insurance company is going to want to know who you are, things like that. So we will not be handling KYC ourselves, but we'll have like a third-party trusted, big third party that will handle the, you know, KYC for that. But you can just sign up and, you know, start using healthcare applications and join any networks that don't require your information and stuff like that. So yeah, there is that aspect where we do look out for the degen, the person who wants to remain private.
All right, nice. We have someone come join us up top. King Win, I'm assuming you have a question. Welcome to the stage.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so assuming my question is actually for soft care. I'm assuming they are open to answer my questions, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So soft care is actually it's a healthcare project, and I think I have been with D-Health for a while. Yeah, D-Health is also related to healthcare, and they're actually doing a lot in the blockchain, and that could be a competitor. So recently or lately, if I may say, I have seen that softcare have actually gotten a little bit of traction here on social medias and even in this space. So my question to softcare is, how are you going to attract more investors, more users to your platform? What is this key product you feel you could use to get more Web3 users to your platform?
I think our main goal is not to get Web3 users to our platform. I think that's the biggest way for adoption. It's kind of like when they build a hospital in a neighborhood, they don't advertise that hospital. Everyone knows there's a hospital there, and the hospital reaches capacity. Healthcare is something that everyone needs. And the biggest and fastest way we can get adoption is by bringing in big clients. You know, if we were to bring in a hospital in India, for example, we could easily get 1 million patients on our platform. You know, if we were to bring in a big health insurance company in the US, we could easily get 1 million, 10 million patients on our platform. And that's the way that we really push for it, because nothing happens on the SolveCare platform without using the Solve token. And that is the biggest and fastest way we can get adoption. So we will see more Web3 people as we grow. You know, we grow in popularity and we start seeing that massive adoption that we're pushing for. But really the best way that we can grow and get token adoption is by bringing on these new clients, building these networks that we're working on, you know, getting these prospective clients to start bringing on their members. And that's the fastest way that we can see adoption and demand for the Solve token through real world adoption.
And another thing, King,
Love it, buddy.
If you've noticed, sorry, I may be lagging a little bit, but another thing, King, if you've noticed lately, you know, with the last bear market, we didn't really have spaces like we do now. I know we had it during the bull market, but we didn't really have it during the last bear market. And if you've noticed, like you said, you've kind of seen us in the community and around social medias lately. That's because we feel like it's time to start connecting with our community, and we are starting to connect with you. That's why we're here talking with Taco. And you've seen in the past few months, we've been doing spaces usually weekly. If you follow us, we had a spaces yesterday, and we tried to have a space at least twice a week. So definitely follow, and we want you to be a part of our community. We want to build together with Web3 like-minded people like you, King. So make sure you follow us in the Telegram. You come shout out to us, and also in our self-care community page. I think it's called Self-Care Vibes, a self-care community. Join our self-care community page and talk with us there. And make sure that you're with us every time we go live, and build a relationship with us. And that's what we want to do with you guys. So that's what we're taking a new strive on reaching out with our community and building this relationship with our community. So that's something we're definitely, you know, pushing towards hard in the bear market, you know, because during the bull market, things go crazy, you know. So let's build in the bear together, and we'll have fun in the bull.
Nice.
Yeah, amazing. So I just give Subscare a follow right now on X, so I will locate it on TG and also give my shout out.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, King. I'm going to drop you down. So if you have any more questions, please feel free to come back up with any more questions, or write the questions in the chat. You know, and to step aside for just a little bit, you know, as we've been talking about the token and stuff like that, I like to cover those things, you know, and either BitBuddy or Mike, whoever, you know, wants to take the lead on these questions, let me know. But right now, you know, you're at a 1 billion total supply. Are all of those in circulation?
No, not
So
all of
we
them. We have.
I'll share at the top. We just wrote a tokenomics page. Mike, I'll let you speak on it, but everyone can read at the top our tokenomics article we just recently wrote. I'll pin that to the top. Right, I just pinned the proof of concept one, but I'll pin the tokenomics one. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so that's 15 years from the start of the token. So we are five years out right now, and we do have slow release. The releases get smaller as time goes on, but I have to check what the actual 1 second. See what we're at.
Okay.
It's almost fully diluted. And then if you look at CoinGecko, it should have the breakdown on CoinGecko. But I'm still gonna share the tokenomics article. But if in our tokenomics article, it tells every single percentage where it's going and what it's getting broken down into. But yes, there's a release, but with this release, it's very spread out, and it's not very much each release, and it's using to. I think they went like 3-4 years. Even during the bear market, they went and didn't release any tokens. Isn't that right, Mike? I think they recently released. Yeah, I think maybe 2 months ago they did the first release in like 2 years or something like that. So even through the whole bear market, they're still building, and they're not spending their tokens to build with.
Okay. And so, and this is the aspect of it, especially, so I dropped both the Etherscan and the CoinMarketCap pieces out there. We've seen fluctuations, in the token and stuff like that, launching at 14 cents, currently at 2 cents, hitting as high as around 50 cents.
I think you need to look at, I think there's something wrong with CoinGecko and the way they read their beginning of the map. You need to look at CoinMarketCap. They have a better representation of the beginning of the site. There's something with CoinGecko, and I know we're trying to fix it with them. That if you look at the beginning of the map of CoinGecko, it looks very kind of weird. We're I don't know what they're reading there, but if you look at Coin Market Cap, I think it had to do something with the pre-sale. I think there was something with the pre-sale that they read the price and they read it differently. But if you look at Coin Market Cap, do you see it now on Coin Market Cap?
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
looking
a better
at.
Okay.
Launching around 14 cents when you guys launched. And then moving all the way, to now where you're at 2 cents. Obviously everyone took a hit during the bear market. So that is, I guess the question is, with Solve and paying doctors, what happens, if I buy $50 worth of Solve and I want to pay my doctor $50, does that then, let's say price takes a hit, do I now have to buy more Solve to pay my doctor, or is it on a one, is payment in Solve token itself at a value, not pegged to a dollar value?
So
yeah, that's what he was talking about earlier. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
Do it right then and there. You can use debit, credit card, or Binance Pay to swap it on the spot. But as I said earlier, we have that dual redemption model where once the token has gone into a network, like a hospital or insurance or something to that extent, it can become variable or it can become fixed. So if you pay $100 to your doctor, that rate stays the same once it's entered the network, and your doctor just gets $100. And the variability, and the risk associated with it can be managed by the care owner, whether that be the hospital, or it can be managed by us, or a combination of the two. One of the reasons that we love the Solve token is that, each transaction uses Solve, but if you join your hospital, you're not going to have to buy Solve to pay for gas. It's going to be sponsored by the network owner. So the network owner is going to have a master wallet that will pay for these transactions to go on inside of the network. And that way you don't have to have grandma, buying little bits of Solve here and there to do transactions. But because they will have a master wallet, these clients and networks will hold their own Solve. They have in their heads the idea that they want Solve to grow, because if Solve grows, then obviously their administrative costs drop, because now their Solve is going to much more and it has a bigger value for them. So we have this ecosystem where everyone's working together to build Solve to a higher level. But to kind of go back to your question, the patient would just pay for this service on the spot with their debit or credit card, and the receiver can either choose to get it in a variable state or in a stable state, depending on what they want.
Okay. All right. And then I think King has one more question, so I'm going to bring him back up for a second. You were going to go off on this as well. Were you going to be touching?
Sorry to come up again. I have just two questions. A quick one. Sorry.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, King, we can hear you.
Okay, so if there is sort of going on, or a way to actually spread soft around local communities, I wanted to find out if there's something like that going on.
Yeah, we do have an ambassador program. I just made quite a few changes to it, and we're looking for new people. So I can throw the link up in the, on Twitter, or maybe
Bird's Nest. Call it the Bird's Nest. Yeah.
Maybe I could just give you a follow now and probably drop a message.
Yeah. Feel free to reach out to me.
All right.
Okay.
And make sure you join our Telegram. And I pinned that to the top, guys. The Solve tokenomics, I pinned to the top.
Yep. King,
what was that question again, King?
The chain software is built on SoftScare rather. The chain. What chain is SoftScare business?
The Solve token is an ERC20 token. Our actual utility happens on a private permission chain right now, but we are building our own layer 2 chain called Care Chain, which is going to be for utility, and that is a fork of Polygon. So if you're working on the Solve token itself, it's an ERC20 token, and it can be stored in any ERC20 wallet.
Yep.
Well, I actually see a lot of future with Soft that be very glad to be here.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for that.
In chat now.
All right. Yeah, and so obviously, once again, as we hit on that 15-minute mark after the hour, ask everyone to like, retweet, and comment the room, whether you're joining us from YouTube, Twitch, Telegram, LinkedIn, or Unlonely. Give a like on this and a share, especially if you're joining us via Twitter. We ask that everyone gives SolveCare a follow. One of the things that the big ask is, by going to SolveCare's Twitter page, joining the Telegram group, it is full of doctors and talking about health. And so one of those questions, if you might have in there that makes you want to feel about a little safer with using SolveCare, the team is super responsive there in the Telegram. And Telegram is used just because it is almost worldwide. You can use Telegram versus any other messaging service, which might be geo-blocked in some areas. Telegram has a good way of making it through, so you can always have questions answered there. And like Mike just said, or BitBuddy had just said, he just pinned the tokenomics up top as well in the bird's nest. Whether we want to call this Twitter or X, it is up to you and how old you are. Having been in Twitter, since like 2015, I still call it Twitter. But I know part of what you guys wanted to talk about, wasn't just SolveCare and everything like that, but because we are on TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, we've been talking about some big stuff, both the mental health aspect, and medical health record stuff, how important that is to people. But you guys also wanted to talk about Degen stuff and what's going on in the markets and everything else going on. Mike or BitBuddy, before we sort of shift topics a little bit, is there anything else you guys want to touch on?
No, just follow us. Make sure you're following our news, our Twitter, joining the discussion on the Telegram, things like that. We have a lot of stuff coming, a lot of partnerships we've been working on. And yeah, it's a great time to get to know us. We're one of those projects that we feel you learn about in the bear market, and you just see us constantly growing. In the last 30 days, I think it was, we've had 3 different partnerships. We've grown at an incredible rate. So it's a good time to get to know us and start doing research. There's a lot to learn about us. But yeah, go check us out.
Nice. And then on the other aspect too, are you guys going to be offering, I guess through like the Care Wallet, incentives for people to have better health, like partnerships with like gyms and stuff like that, where they can get memberships with their SolveCare token and stuff like that, or by doing certain things?
I'm a huge gym rat, so I am definitely on board with that. But yes, it is something that we've been kind of looking at. Try and bring all the different tools that you want. But our goal is to make the wallet just like this one place where all of your health needs come together. Fitness, nutrition, care, medical devices, smartwatches, all that kind of stuff just comes together and you just handle it all in one place. So yeah, we're definitely looking at that and hoping to get one of the big gym chains on there. But I'm a huge gym rat, so I'm all about that.
All right. So was there anything else you guys wanted to cover before we sort of go into the Degen side of news?
Well, I can kind of transition us into the Degen is so, and it also kind of talks about what we want you guys to come check us out on is Friendtech. We recently joined on Friendtech, and we've been connecting with people. We've been buying keys, and we really like it. So we definitely want you guys, if you're on Friendtech, to come, check us out on Friendtech. We're gonna have special stuff. We're thinking of some things. I don't want to say too much, but we're gonna have some special things for people that hold our keys. And what you were speaking on before with the fitness, we met someone. We met a few people, I think, but we met one in particular. Her name's Maya, that we want to plan on doing stuff with. So, maybe you can connect with us on there and build with us on there. And I know that there's a lot of fitness things going on, and we've talked with some people about maybe they can launch some of their products in our marketplace, and stuff like that. And I think that the Care Wallet connects to the Care Marketplace. But yeah, that'd be really great to be connect with these people. And integrate with them on build relationships on Front Tech. I know, Taco, you're on Front Tech, and then Stars Arena. It's really sad, man. I know I've talked with a lot of people that lost a lot of money on there, but I'm seeing so many of these SocialFi pop up almost every day. I saw one that was called Simps pop up yesterday, and people were going crazy on it. So what do you think?
I am a degen of the highest, lowest order, so obviously I got involved in, Tipcoin. I've gotten involved with, Post Tech, Frenzy on Solana, Stars Arena was in, in Bitcoin City.
Yes, Bitcoin City.
I do it all a little bit here and there, and I'm, not tied to any one chain. I like to say I'm chain agnostic. I'm really heavy in the Polkadot ecosystem, real heavy in Zen, which is across 14 chains, and what Zen is sort of building out. I'm in all of these different things, and then, on top of it, I get to travel around on behalf of different projects, visiting blockchain conferences, listening to tech coming out. And I'm like, buy now. That's the degen in me, not financial advice, because as I like to say, my life is crypto, cigars, and caffeine. If you are influenced by me, prepare to get wrecked. So yeah, but I sort of like to follow it all in some way capacity, just so I can have knowledge on it. I might not be able to speak on it, but I at least want to know what people are talking about. And, and I love being flies of high level conversations, coming from a dev background, being able to talk to anyone and everyone, really, does me a good service. And I think, Olga was with us earlier. She had to drop out because I know she had, but she's head of some of the marketing stuff. And that's, Solve Care sort of like really, touched my heartstrings, just because I love the aspect of how deep you guys are going into it, and with Pradeep having that huge history of, what he has done for the US health industry and CareNet and, care system. You're not just bringing in like, random quacks, that think the latest and greatest. You guys have a powerhouse of hitters, So,
yeah, it's kind of, they are really picky who they bring into the team, and then I think the reason why is because when you join their team, you're family. It's not like you're an employee, you're family, and so they definitely want to make sure if you're going to come in as family, that's your family, and it's not something that you just want to get by on. It's something that you're passionate about, something that you really love doing. It's something that you want to wake up and you want to do, So that's the type of people you got to surround yourself with,
Surround yourself with builders. That's what I try to do. Stay away from the drama. Yes, I like to be cognizant of what's going on drama-wise, because some of it may or may not relate to me in some way, shape, or form, or it may relate to what's going on in the world, which then, as degen as I am, might then have a reflection on what's going on in the market that never sleeps. And so I know one of the big things this past week was, the I Trust Capital Bitcoin ETF being approved. And then just yesterday, the SEC withdrawing their case, their appeal against XRP founders. We've seen a lot of new sentiment within the market, of positivity, I guess you could say. And I think the legitimacy of Solve Care really steps that forward, in a positive aspect. And so it was one of those things I was like, one, would you even be willing to come on the best worst show you never heard about? Because, I'm consistently inconsistent, but daily, and the fact that you guys wanted to come on, I really appreciate that. And talk about what you guys are doing,
Yeah. And
So,
I think
yeah.
it's more of this building in the air that we're doing, that I think a lot of people are doing. But it's actually, you know what? It's the projects that are going to be here till the end that are doing it. Because there are a lot of projects you don't see here on Space. There are a lot of projects you don't see. And I hate to say it, but one of the biggest community tokens, Pepe, where are they?
Mm-hmm.
You don't see Pepe doing spaces. You don't see, now you see the Harry Potter Bitcoin people, you see them building wells for people in Nigeria. You see them building water systems and getting water to all these communities. But you don't see Pepe anywhere. And they're supposed to be the big community token, right? The people I do see is like, I see Polygon Network out there. I see QuickSwap. I see QuickSwap out there all the time, which is great. Hosting spaces, big spaces. So there are some projects out there that are connecting with the Web3 crypto. I guess it's not called CT. I don't know. It's CX, whatever, crypto Twitter. But yeah, I want to connect, with these people. Solve Care does. I do personally. We want all to connect with Web3 industry that's living on Twitter, because that's where crypto lives. It lives on Twitter.
Yeah. And sort of like what you guys were saying earlier, and Mike, touched on this, and, the question that everyone asks all the time is, how are we going to bring the next billion people into blockchain? And I got to have a dinner last year with the Casper Network team, and the CTO Meta, that was, a question that come up, and she was like, I don't want to bring on 1 billion people. I want to bring on 3 clients that serve $1 billion. And she was talking, about like Cisco and other pieces. And that sort of sounds like something that you guys are doing, as Mike was like, our target audience isn't those already in Web3. It's the healthcare networks that will then bring in all of the users. And they don't necessarily even need to really care about the Web3 element to it,
Yeah,
that is so important. And this is there. Yeah, that's exactly what. Because the others will come. You bring those guys in, and the others will come.
Go Bit Buddy.
Oh, sorry, Mike. I'm delayed. I'm sorry, Mike. I was saying you build and they will come. Like you connect with these people that are creators and that are builders, and those you look at the quality of the connections you have, not the quantity. It's the quality of connections, not the quantity. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was saying along the same lines is, one of the reasons that we've really only started doing spaces in the last 3-4 months is because for the first 5 years of our company, our marketing was mostly B2B. We were focused on building that pipeline that we're so proud of now. But we also see the benefit of reaching out there and touch with all these Web3 platforms, as Local Bit Buddy was saying. But yeah, for the longest time, all we were really focused on is getting those clients onto our platform. And yeah, now we're trying to reach out more to the Web3 audience and get more partners in the blockchain space and stuff like that. Yeah, it really is. And I don't know if you got this from the Mazzari event. You said you were at Mainnet, right?
Yep.
A lot of people, the thing that we took away from it is that everyone's kind of focused on adoption now. Everyone's really focused on bringing on those large clients. And it's not, you didn't see Lamborghinis on the floor and people splashing millions of dollars for marketing. I was speaking to Jen yesterday, who goes to a lot of these conferences, and she said, yeah, it was a lot more of, people speaking about adoption, and you didn't see too many people catering to the individuals anymore. You saw more of, how do you onboard massive amounts of clients, AML, KYC, fiat people, and things of that nature, instead of the focus on the individuals, things like that. I don't know if you got that same feeling that was on your end.
I did. And what was really cool was where some people sort of let out some like secrets that was somewhat common knowledge, but not really common knowledge. Like, do you know Peroni beer?
Yeah.
So Peroni beer, if you scan the barcode on any can of Peroni or bottle of Peroni, it will take you to the NFT of that actual bottle on chain. And every bottle and can of Peroni has been on chain as an NFT since May or April of 2021. So talking about the aspects of industry titans sort of being here and being on, and it's giving people a new idea to this idea of what NFTs are not just PFPs. And you're sort of doing the same thing with the ZK dynamic NFT aspect of both a public facing and a private facing version of my healthcare data and stuff like that. And so as one of the things that I've sort of said is like the metadata the meta of 10,000 collections is done. It's dead. Now people have to start thinking about that 100,000, that 500,000, million expandable, collection piece to onboard more people.
Yeah, I love that for me. I'm a digital nomad. I travel different countries every month, and just to ball together lines. And one of their emails was like, "Hey, you can mint a Plainies NFT, which gives you like VIP. It can upgrade you to VIP. It gets you into their lobbies and stuff like that." So I thought that was really interesting. You start seeing it more and more in different places.
Yeah, we really have, and what's crazy is here in New York this week, it's New York Tech Week, and so there's a ton of AI and somewhat Web3, but technology focused events and stuff like that, and overlapping it all is the Sam Bankman-Fried trial, SBF FTX trial that I've been going to every day. And what's really hilarious is I'm in talks with one of the courtroom artists, and I want to get one of her drawings of everything, not put on Reuters, but I want to put it the digital artifact on chain for like a free mint on like Base or something like that, so that anyone and everyone can have a piece of that history. So there's just so much going on all the time that we just sort of, are just learning about their expansion pieces to it. So I think it's really cool. I think we're at a really cool forefront of things.
Did you know that AP News is doing the same thing? They want to take photos throughout history that they never released and release them as NFTs, like special collections.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think that stuff is pretty amazing. The one aspect I see with it is, a lot of them want to do, they'll do that for a cost. And I think that there is an aspect to that. Me, I want to make this a free mint, because I think anyone and everyone should have access to it, because it's public information and stuff like that. And I get tied on making money and losing money and just giving away things for free. There's so many cool things going on here that, it's hard to get a thread on all of it. So I'm going to ask this separately to each of you, BitBuddy and to Mike. Mike, first, what is something else outside of SolveCare that really has your interest right now?
Really anything that's pushing for real world adoption, outside. A lot of them are really focused on Web3, but there's quite a few projects out there, in distribution and, as I was saying on a talk yesterday, some of these liquidity pools that are looking for, there's liquidity pools that you can put into that they purchase houses with, and you get a part of the revenue from it. There's liquidity pools that you can put in to help get movies made, and you get a part of the revenue in it. And there's some insurance companies in the U.S. that are crowdfunded essentially, but you get a part of the revenue and you get health insurance out of it. So some of those like real world liquidity pools and real world adoption, that's what really gets it's what I got into this for. I got back in 2016, 2017 when everyone was talking about revolutionizing different industries, and I kind of held on to it. I know it's a meme, but I'm still here for the tech. I'm still here for the industry changing real world adoption that we've been hoping for all this time.
Nice. And then BitBuddy, what about you?
Yeah, definitely my heart is in utility, and but I've been having my fingers, my dirty little Degen fingers, and all of what Web3 has to offer since the beginning of it. Whether it's just depositing some yield and getting some humble farm yield from Curve or from Aave, or it's trying those real aggressive yield farms from like Pickle Finance or some of these more obscure ones, or just even testing my little waters and some decentralized leverage trading. You probably shouldn't ever mess with that, but yeah, playing around, just seeing what I could do, and then messing with dexes like Uniswap. I think I got 4 airdrops from Uniswap from all the different wallets I had. I was even using it on Shapeshift back when it was Exodus wallet, before Uniswap. We were doing peer-to-peer swaps on Shapeshift, and I got the Fox airdrop for that. But there's so many, every single little new thing. The NFTs, when the crypto kitties, I was messing with crypto, and then Xfinity. I was loving Xfinity. But I kind of go into it and die out I always die out when the hype starts. Like I stopped doing the NFTs when Beeple and the Bored Yacht Apes started getting real big. I did participate in some of the Beeple drops, didn't win unfortunately, but I kind of I think when it starts getting more mainstream, I kind of go on to the next new fun thing. And my next new fun thing right now has been the SocialFi, the friend tech. Well, right before this, it's been the community coins, the meme coins, or shit coins, whatever you want to call them. I never really liked community coins or meme coins like Doge and SHIB because there's infinite supply and all this. But when Pepe did the renowned smart contract, burn liquidity, and all that, that's what kind of got my attention on okay, now you can actually build a community coin that people can't rug. And so that's where I went there. But now the SocialFi happening, my eyes and my attention, my liquidity has been on SocialFi. That's not still saying I still have Aave. I mean, I've been on Aave for like 3-4 years now, or however long the Polygon network has been on Aave. I've been there because I don't like using Ethereum for DeFi. I don't like paying those gas fees. So I use Avalanche and I use Polygon for my DeFi. I love Avalanche and I love Polygon.
All right. Yeah. No. For me right now, a lot of my heart is in Polkadot, and the DEX that I'm part of a team on a DEX Stella swap on Moonbeam. For me, one of the big conferences I just came back from was Chainlink, and as they were integrating CCIP, cross-chain interoperability protocol, into more things. Originally, it was only like 5 chains. They opened it up to, I think, roughly 17 chains. And what they released there was that Moonbeam was going to be the messaging layer between all other chains. So you call a contract on Avalanche that has a response on Polygon. Moonbeam is going to be that middle layer between that communication layer. And so I think that as we look at more interoperability, communication between chains, I think that some really cool stuff is going to be coming out of that. So keep your eyes out on anything Chainlink. And
IBC is also doing some things too with that. But I wrote about Chainlink and Moonbeam for years. I was following them so I'm so happy you said that, because I know about that, and it's so cool that they're making that developments. I haven't been researching them for the past maybe year since I've been steadily on Softcare, but yeah, it's amazing what Chainlink is doing for interoperability, and what's also Cosmos, and then Polkadot. I think those three projects. Of course, you have the little off branches of them. You have so many different oracles but Chainlink, Cosmos with their SDK kit, software kit, and their IBC network, and then Polkadot, what they're doing to connect all these, because that's what it's about. It's not about Microsoft and Apple. It's not about competing with people. It's about connecting and integrating with everyone.
Yeah. It's funny that you brought up, Microsoft, for a second there. Before we start to wrap this up, one thing I did want to, I've been in the courtroom for the SBF trial the last 2 weeks, and we're off trial's off until next Thursday. But one of the things that came up on Wednesday was they had Google. The prosecution flew the records custodian from Google out from Texas, because the court has been showcasing all of the documents in Excel and Word documents, yet all of the communication that was done in FTX and Sam and Caroline Ellison and everyone else was in Google Docs, that they thought that were private. And under just a simple search warrant, Google was able to pull all of these original documents that were made, that were tied to everyone. And so for people that think that Google provides that layer, Google Suite provides that layer of privacy, listening to this Google guru, or records custodian, nope, it is all safe and public and there for anyone to grab at the slightest. And that's why I believe in Microsoft, Microsoft Suite, and use that and stuff like that, because there is that layer of privacy and protection there that Google does not provide. This trial has been really crazy, and hearing how much of customer funds were flowed into different things, especially on the political side, has been really crazy. And I think the recent wins that blockchain has had in the courts, will sort of, shine through eventually. But there is a lot of FUD and false information coming out from people that aren't even at the trial about what people are saying or what's going on. And I think, the one aspect that no one really touches on is that FTX was doing all of this funneling on Web 2 banking industry standards. And it was the Web 3 aspect that made some of it public, where people were able to see the fuckery, and excuse my language, that then caused the collapse of FTX and the blanket being pulled on all of the other skeletons. And
that's going to get pushed under the rug, man. It's so critical that's going to get pushed under the rug, and it's so critical that we get that information out there. We have to really, on that one point, we really, really, really need to emphasize and tell everyone, your friends, and show people. It doesn't matter, because the media is not going to talk about it. So it's going to be us that have to talk about it.
Yeah. And one of the things that the financial expert that the prosecution said, two things that he said was, that stuck out at me, even though I have affectionately renamed him Santa Claus. He has a huge history of financial audits and penetrating audits to find financial malfeasance. He doesn't have a lot of experience in Web3. The only other case that he has been Web3 case that he's been part of was SEC and Ripple. but he did a great flow of how Web3 consumer funds were used in political donations and other things. But he said, blockchain is forever, and tracing transactions is you can get so much more detail on it. And so almost talking about how much better finance tracking on blockchain is easier than all of the different stuff that was being seen in the, the prosecution admitted one exhibit that was 14,000 pages of bank transactions versus the 500 pages for blockchain that had 3 times as many transactions, but it was able to flow a lot easier in blockchain than it was with the banking standard pieces, because money would go from consumer fund to Silvergate to Wells Fargo to Prime Trust to, just blockchain brings solves a lot of those things. As we start to wrap up, Bit Buddy, is there words of wisdom or anything else you want to say before we end?
No, I mean, I guess the last thing, I guess just off what you were just talking about, the logistics nightmares of paperwork that blockchain solves. I mean, Unibright base ledger was a great chain, and Softcare, that's literally what Softcare is doing, right? It's getting rid of that paperwork. It's a real nightmare, the logistics nightmare. I think they did I think it was Unibright did a comparison of how much paperwork it took to get like some Coca-Cola shipped from America to India or something like this. Or some products that they had, Coca-Cola products getting shipped from America to, and the amount of paperwork, like, you could stack it to the moon or whatever it was, right? And then with the blockchain, it's literally just all broken down, not saved anywhere, and somewhere it can be hacked or stored. It's all saved as a unspent transaction. So it's not saved in the cloud or anything like that. We're here. We're going to be around. Make sure you're following us. We're going to be more vocal, and we definitely want to connect with Taco again and you guys again, and continue this relationship, because I feel like we can really build something great here. And definitely go check out Taco's Friend Tech Key. I've been scoping them out, and I'm gonna also check out Local Bit Buddy. I'm on there too, I think. Yes, I'm on there. Local Bit Buddy's on there.
All right.
Scope me out too. Yes, sir.
All right. And then Mike, Community Manager Mike, any final thoughts and words of wisdom?
Yeah, during this market is the best time to just learn about new things, try everything out. Wait until those gas prices are down and try out every Web3 platform, everything that's new that's coming. This is really the time when you learn the most. When the market's crazy, you don't have time to think, you don't have time to research, you jump from one thing to another, and this is the real time to learn and craft. And if you want to get into blockchain, this is the perfect time to learn and skill and be ready for that next market. You just, definitely, obviously come check us out, but I just push everyone during these markets just to learn, take part in many spaces, ask questions, really get out there and learn as much as you can before that market comes back. Because once that market comes back, you're not going to have time to do anything. It's go, 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 and you won't have as much time to research and learn about different things. So I always say this market is the best time to learn.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. There's been some great speakers that have come up, asked some good questions. I want to thank everyone from YouTube and Telegram and Twitch for joining us, and then everyone on LinkedIn and on Lonely for joining us today, and some great questions all the way around. I want to, the one ask that I have is that you guys give Softcare a follow. Join their Telegram group, see what they're building out. And in the bird's nest, you'll see the Softcare wallet. So if you have an iOS device, check that out, and get in early. Well, actually, I can't really say early, because the token itself has been around for 5 years, but you know, the whole network piece is building out and really going places. So, you know, you guys are just now sort of making a splash on the scene, and really welcome to have you guys here and have you anytime. With that, you know, please check out SolveCare and check out their Telegram group. And you know, we end in 2 ways, as we end every episode, with my words of wisdom and the best worst knock joke on the face of the planet. And so this is how we end every episode, because you know, we've been doing this now this is the 428th episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen. But my words of wisdom are: a closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth. Meaning, if no one knows you're looking for opportunity, opportunity cannot come a knocking. And if opportunity does come knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. And with that, we end with the greatest worst knock joke on the face of the planet. And Mike, because you were on stage with this on Twitter, you are designated to help out with this knock joke. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Knock.
Who's there?